Hello, guys. Welcome to Art Friends. As you can hear, it's a little bit more of a quiet intro because today we have planned something new. With we, I mean me, because Cohen is busy over the weekend and we have like two different time zones that we can record in. Hi. So, today's topic, or let's rather say type of video, will be an interview type of video where I pretty much ask up to 5 questions if the time is there for it. Um, and Cohen will answer them alone, and then Coda will answer them alone, because I feel like letting them answer the questions on their own is very interesting to see their pure and uh, not disturbed by the others' opinion is very fun. Yes, that's how I'm going to call it. Okay, I explained it. So let's start with the first person. Hello, Cohen.
Hello. I'm assuming you explained the premise of this entire thing
Yes, and then I
in the
started
intro.
singing the me intro opening
Fantastic.
song.
Can't wait to
That
listen
puppy.
to that.
Oh god, that was so long. So anyways, Cohen, I have explained pretty much that this is an interview type of thing, so get
Yeah,
interviewed it.
interview.
Yes, that
Okay. Well, you need to ask me the questions. And after
well,
this, Coda's going to be interviewed. And you'll get both of our perspectives without meddling from each other's perspectives. We might say
definitely
that
how I explained it.
we might say the exact same thing. We might say something completely different and then fight about it later. But uh yay, interviewing time. This is
Alrighty.
interview friends now.
Yes. First up with a starter that isn't on my like papers, but I think it's nice. How are you today, Cohen?
Completely fine, actually.
That's a rare one.
Wow. Thanks.
I'm joking.
No, you're Opalia.
Good job. Anyways, my first question of today is, would you say your view on the world slash people has changed since you started drawing slash art?
Oh boy, that's a big one. Jiminy Crickets. I was like, what's your favorite color? Nope. We're getting into the existential stuff right away. Let's go. So the question was if my view on people has changed ever since I started drawing.
People slash the world.
That's literally
Or
everything, Opalia.
or as a JoJo's character would say, Zavardo. Okay. Varudo. Sorry. I'm
Mr. Worldwide. Anyhow, um, I would say yes for sure because it makes me a whole lot more observant. If I wasn't an artist, I'd probably just walk around and be like, "Oh yeah, that's a tree. Oh yeah, that's a sidewalk."
exactly, but now you look at a tree and you're like, oh, that could be a pelican.
Not even that. It's just like, wow, I like the branch pattern on that tree. Let me analyze how it splits and twists and moves. Oh wow, look at that guy's face. He is really expressive. I love it. And then I just do that for the entire day, and it isn't like that all the time, but it really gets boosted when I've actually drawn something from life. So I was at school the other day waiting for the rain to end, and I decided to just draw a part of my school which I had seen like 1,000 times before. But drawing it made me have to analyze how it actually fits together and how it looks. And now I never look at that same place again because I'm just like, wow, it's so complex but so simple. I love it. And when I cycled home after that, I started looking at everything that way.
Mm.
So like, I think once the experience and analyzing of live drawing is fresh in my mind, then I analyze a whole lot more. But I do think I analyze and maybe even appreciate more than the average person
Mm-hmm.
because I draw. Especially like when I was on a trip to a city to see a marching band. But every single person I
Sorry.
saw there, every single one, I was like, wow, this is a character design. Everyone here is already a character design. It was insane.
And that's
Everyone
how
had
Coen got
such
his
a...
first existential crisis.
Wait, why?
Everybody is a character design.
Yeah, I thought it was super cool. Just
It is.
everyone has their own super unique face. They're not like 50 shades of the same female face you see on stock photos. You know? Like, legit, the Google female face, you'll get the exact same image like 50 times. I'm so tired of it.
Yeah, I
Every
get
time
that.
I'm like, I want to do a painting study of a female, but I can't find the female.
Thing is, the only good-looking female that I know is Squidward.
My favorite female.
Indeed. He
Anyhow,
just has the most masculine femininity I've ever seen.
he just has the most masculine femininity. He.
Yeah, what's wrong with being a he, huh? Hee-haw!
That. Opalia the cowboy, everyone. Hee-haw. Or the donkey. Depends. Opalia, are you a donkey or a cowboy?
Yes.
Cool.
How can a donkey not be a cowboy?
I don't know. Science.
Either it's science or cats. I don't make the rules, I just say them. Gina, could you
That's
please
true.
stop rustling in the background? 1 second, I gotta quickly...
Throw her out the window.
Yes. Give me a second. Gina, look, it's a white flower! Wow, it's so cool! Get it! Okay, we can continue.
Epic. So let's see. Was that a satisfactory answer? Was that good enough?
I am satisfied, thank you very much.
Yay.
Other things other artists do that you don't understand, may it be how they may it be how they pursue a drawing or just the way they learn stuff. Since we both have very different views on drawing, I thought it was very fun to ask that.
So like stuff I don't understand about other artists?
Mm-hmm.
Like this is gonna sound very silly and obnoxious, but there's like a lot I can't do, but I think I understand just about everything. Like I understand it at least. Like I know where it's coming from. There's not where I'm like, this is an enigma. This is impossible. How is this happening? I kind of understand it. Doesn't mean I'm able to do it. So if I see, I don't know, Tehran Fiddler draw some clouds in like a couple of seconds, and they look super good, super well in focus, super realistic or whatever, and appealing and with good shapes. I'm just like, yeah, he did that by painting in a certain way. I'm not entirely sure how to, but it's not like a super big mystery. And like there are a couple of things where I'm like, wait, I see what you're doing, but why would you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know, there's a certain portion of the art community that just does some hyper focused stuff, and they like hyper focus on this one aspect of art as a whole. Like there's this one server that will absolutely obliterate you if you make your shadows go to black instead of a certain hue, if you don't hue shift your shadows. And I'm just like, cool, I see where you're coming from, but why are you so incredibly obsessed with this? Out of all the things.
Right? Like, there's the one thing that they're just, like, passionate about.
Yeah, there's like one thing they hyper focus on. So like in a furry community, this might be like, guys, how do I draw a wolf ear? I'm like, and then I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a fair question. And then like 500 others ask it, and I'm like, wait, what? Wait, why am I in a furry server? And then I leave the server because I've reached the server limit of 100 at this point. Just kind of annoying. But there's just I also made a story, but there's just a bunch of, I don't know, just This mostly happens with people who are super beginners. Like I'm still a beginner, but there's people who are like super beginners who like hyper focus on certain aspects of art, and then they don't see and then I feel like they don't see the big picture. So they're
Mhm.
like, how do I get my lines smooth? And they ask that, which is a draftsmanship thing, which you should learn. But they're like, how do I make my lines super smooth before they even bother to think about form, perspective, or whatever? Which isn't a
Mm.
big problem, but like, it's just a little odd to me that they have the energy to hyper focus on such a little thing, but uh, then they don't want to bother with fundamentals and that sort of stuff. But in general, I don't think there's anything I don't understand at all. If there is, please just throw a curveball at me. Tell me something that's very weird to you about art, and I'll see if I can explain it or if I
Or at
know
least
anything
relate.
about it.
Yeah.
What you say?
Or at least relate to
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Um, what I thought about was, for example, the way we differently study with each other, and sometimes you're like, "Oh, that's so weird," and I sometimes feel like that's some of those things that where we are very different at art.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's very fun. Like, it's not a bad thing that we both
It
have
is
very
fun.
different approaches of doing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I always wondered how you feel about it when you hear about how people learn stuff, and maybe you're trying it out, and you're like, how does it work for them? I'm kind of curious how you go on about that.
Oh, I haven't been doing enough artist studies where I like look at other artist techniques and I try to copy them.
Hmm.
Uh,
So you're
like
just very egotistical and only do your own art stuff.
no, I look at real life and I do look
No,
at other artists, but I just take
don't.
from them in
Mm,
very minor ways, which I
exactly.
shouldn't. Which I should do more artist studies, honestly. Like there's a couple of things where it's just like, oh, let me just press these 5 keyboard shortcuts on Photoshop and this will be fixed. And when I watch that, I'm like, yeah, I'm sure that makes sense, but I can't be bothered to actually try it out.
Yeah, I can see that. But that was a very satisfying answer. Thank you very much, Cohen.
Right?
Comer.
Oh, dang it.
Okay. Would you say famous artists are more inspiring than friends, or would you say it's the other way around?
I mean, uh, I gotta think about this one. I think if you're working with only art friends, you might stagnate.
Mm.
But when you only look at famous or popular or really good artists, you won't as quickly, but you might not enjoy it as much.
That's what
So
I thought.
yeah,
Mhm.
let me explain that. So I think looking at famous good or whatever artists is aspiring and getting inspired, I guess,
Mhm.
in the way of, oh, I want to get better. I want to be like these guys, you know? So you look at them, you try to be like them, and the more you do fundamentals or whatever, and you study and you draw 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 some more, the more you start looking like, yeah, don't forget drawing, the
Mhm.
more you start to look like those you aspire to be. So eventually you'll find a place where you're happy, not necessarily happy yet, but you'll like, it's really weird to explain, but you basically, the only metaphor I can think of is you're looking at the top of a mountain and you're constantly walking up that mountain,
Mhm.
and you're only walking up the mountain, like you'll get very far, but at some points you might be like, oh, my legs are tired, I don't want to stare at this top anymore, and you might just stop at that point, which is really bad, which is where friends come in, because friends do a thing that top artists can't do that well unless they're your friends, of course, which is that they simultaneously support, compete, and inspire you in the fact that they support you in that they might give critiques or say your drawing's really nice or like have a chat about art and just generally being nice to each other. And they compete with you because they're probably also trying to reach. They're also probably trying to reach a higher point in art. So they're constantly working upwards too. Like when I see whatever you, Coda, Beanut, Breadstick, Speed, Jork, whatever, whoever else are drawing, I'm like, ha ha ha, crap, time to draw. And that happens every single day, basically. So everyone really, like I really compete with everyone, and it isn't like it's a friendly competition that isn't even verbal. So I'm not like, haha, Opalia, I can draw horses now. Bet you can't do that. And then next week you'll be like, haha, I can draw horses 5 times as good as you, Coen.
Jokes
Get
on you,
wrecked.
I already drew horses before you even thought of art.
Exactly. So like it isn't a verbal competition, but just seeing each other's drawings really helps. But then you also have inspiration because when you're quote unquote the worst artist in your group, and your friends are like, "Wow, we can draw," and you're like, "Wow, I can't draw," then you can more directly learn from them because they're still people you aspire to be like, but they're a lot closer to you, so you can learn from them a lot more directly. But I think I think a good thing to have is just a balance of both of these, of looking up at really good and really not even famous, just really good artists you like, and aspiring to be like those, and having a whole bunch of friends to talk to and chat with, and get inspired by and compete with. A mix of those is optimal, but if you have only one or the other, you'll get really burnt out because if you only look at if you only look at the good artist, you'll burn yourself out because you'll never feel like you have the confidence and you might not have as much fun doing it. But if you only work with a couple of friends, you will only be able to reach the level those friends are at right now. And it's even worse if those friends also don't look at better artists, because then you're just a stagnant group basically. And you can stagnate for a whole long time. What'd you say?
We are called the Stagnators.
Hell yeah.
Actually, a very dope name. What I wanted to say, by the way, which I should cut out, but I almost said being famous kind of means that you're a good artist, but then I thought of Butch Hartman and I was like,
I mean, he's famous for creating shows. He isn't famous for being an artist. But like generally it is that very top of the line artists on the field of fame happen to be pretty good, or at least there's something that's garnering that attention, because no one just gets 5 million followers without being good. That just doesn't happen, frankly, unless you have bots.
literally. And then all of a sudden you're like, where did that boy come from? The heck? I never knew them.
I know, right?
And then he's like, yes, I am the bot master.
But yeah, that whole tangent with no clear direction is hopefully enough for an answer.
We only had 20 minutes. We have like 20 more to go. Jesus.
Wowee. This will be fun.
What would you say is the least helpful kind of critique?
Stop drawing.
You suck.
No, not even that. That's somewhat useful. Like, it's really rude and it's horrible. It's bad advice. But it's still something, you know?
True.
Just the worst drawings are those that haven't been made. Honestly. So just telling someone to stop drawing is probably the worst thing you could ever say. Because let me hear you out. There was like it isn't even valid, and it just gets the hopes of the other on the person on the other line down, and it'll make them less confident. And confidence is huge in art. There was this guy. He was in art school, and 2 weeks in, he got told that he should probably quit because um he wasn't that good. No one, his professors were like, "Wow, you're kind of trash. You should probably leave and pursue something else. You should pursue something you're good at."
Isn't art
Well,
there to learn art too?
yeah, but they were like, "You're not up to the standard of the rest of the school." But uh, yeah, some people that know the story might be up to my tricks, but that person happened to be Andrew Loomis, and he is the writer creator of, he's dead now, but he's the writer creator of some of the most popular, informative, and incredible art books, which are Figure Drawing for All It's Worth, and I think Drawing the Head and Hands by Andrew Loomis,
Mhm.
aka he's a very well-known, popular artist for his books, and he was really popular in marketing art. So really, stop drawing is probably the worst critique because it's the only critique I can think of that actively brings someone backwards.
Exactly, like critique that doesn't really get you down because you think your skills are bad. Because if you think your skills are bad, you kind of have that underlying thing of, I want to get better.
Yeah. On the other hand, even like it's the worst when it's a friend or a
Mhm.
family member saying it, but even then, I've heard people who are quite good, better than me, obviously, but who are really good, say that their main motivation was other people telling them they couldn't do it, and that kind of drove them to just get better because they were like, "I'll show them,"
Exactly.
you
Like
know?
it's with an anime character, like the main character going, I'll show you, I can actually be good at this.
Yeah, I actually love watching YouTube videos of like anime artists doing sketchbook tours because their origin stories are most of the time. I got this how to draw anime book when I was a kid, or when they're into shonen. There was this guy that was into shonen. He was like, he realized that you needed skills for art, and he watched a lot of shonen anime. So he literally went on the shonen plot to become a better artist. He was like, I gotta train every day, and I want to get better. And I was like, bro, this is hilarious. It's
What
so
a life.
dramatic. Like, I love it.
What a way to make it more dramatic, though.
I know, right? I think that might be probably the worst critique
Mm,
to give. Like, name a worse one, honestly.
yes. Then there's
Thank
a
you.
question I have.
What is it?
How would you say, where are you on the art spectrum? A beginner, an intermediate, a good, like a great artist, a professional, or maybe none of them, and you have your own kind of name?
I am, in fact, a god tier artist. No one is on my level whatsoever. I am above the clouds. From above here, I might see like Kim Jong Gi's head pop through. I'm seeing Feng Zhu a little bit down there, but no, I'm the top man. I am in fact the best artist in the world. If anyone now thinks that I am horrendously pretentious and weird, that was a joke. That was a very sarcastic, ironic joke because I think, way lower on the spectrum. And with way lower, I mean like I know that I'm probably not a beginner anymore, but I still treat myself as a beginner, and I still mentally have the image of myself as a beginner.
Mm.
So I think of myself as a beginner, but I feel like from an outside perspective, they might be like, "Oh, he's all right, he's fine enough, not interested, but he's fine-ish." Like I'm not great in any sense, but I'm pretty sure I'm still a beginner. Like I didn't start yesterday with art. but I feel like I'm only scratching the surface or so. I'm like beginner to intermediate,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm nowhere near professional, that's for sure.
You know,
That'll take me a couple of years.
I think actually I would call you an intermediate going on to a good artist, like great artist. Because obviously you have like a few things that you still don't know and you still have a lot to learn. But if I think of a beginner artist, it's someone who barely knows the basics.
The basics.
The basics.
Basics. That makes it sound like a bass thing.
Drop that basics. What?
Why does that sound like a trap song?
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
That also sounded like a trap song.
Opalia, who is she? I only know Trapalia.
Trapalia. Auspalia. EDM Palia.
I am more Rapalia. Okay.
I still treat myself as a beginner.
I mean, it's probably also your own kind of motivation where you're like, I'm only a beginner. I should get better, though.
Yeah.
Why did I turn Southern again? What's with me and turning Southern every now and then?
You might have been simping on AJ too much.
It's no September. No, thank you very much.
No simp September.
Hey, that's an actual challenge, though.
I know, but I didn't know that was a thing. I just heard about it.
Deadly virus taste. Nice.
Delicious.
Yes, I will cut this out because, you know, it's dating me more than my boyfriend. Okay.
Fantastic.
Then I have another question. What new things did you find through art?
Ooh, that's a lot.
I have a lot of time, so we can answer a lot.
I'm just going to talk very slowly.
Wait, no.
No. Let's not do that.
That's not.
Let me first take a sip of water. That might fix my voice.
A slurp. If you're not slurping.
Okay, there was only like half a sip of water in there, but I think that worked fine enough. So
your kind of slurps are like my kind of slurp. Wait, that sounds more like a vape. Because the water didn't come to my mouth.
Opalia, are you vaping?
All the time, dude. No, the coffee.
Yep. I think we outed her.
I'm actually gay.
Well, we knew that one. Bless you.
Thank you.
I hope
Remember
speed
when
got
said
triggered.
that? Huh?
I hope speed got triggered there.
What? Wait.
Anyhow,
Why
let's
was
see.
triggered? Tell me the tea. I need to know.
Because I asked him once if you're allowed to say bless you when someone coughs, and he was like, no. And ever since, I've been saying bless you when someone coughs every single time.
You mad lad. And I just
even when he isn't there.
I was used to saying thank you when someone said bless you.
Perfect. We've done
Shame
it.
on me.
No, it's fine. It's good actually. You're trolling speed with me.
I am sorry, Speed. I will now cancel all of our weddings.
What?
What?
You're marrying Speed?
I don't know. I'm very poorly about that.
He's the imposter. I should warn you about that one. But
Who said
anyhow,
that there's only one imposter?
oh no.
See, I haven't played Among Us yet because old laptop.
It's really fun.
I can only imagine. Like I heard so many.
You can download it on your phone for free.
Oh whoa.
You didn't know?
See, I can cut this out so it never happened.
That is true. But I found a whole bunch of new stuff through art. I found I found YouTube channels, I found Discord, I found Instagram, I found Twitter, I found
Right.
Pinterest.
You would
What?
have never gotten to the Discord without pop. Well, maybe you would have, but you literally found Discord through Popcross, didn't you?
Nope. I had it a couple months before. I got Discord because a couple of friends in school showed me and made me download it, and then I didn't use it at all for like 5 months. Then I heard, I think it was Caitlin McCaig, say she had a Discord server, and I was like, I'll join
Wait,
that.
Caitlin
So
McCaig. Cake. Yes, her name is McCaig.
cake.
So Caitlin is a woman. I always imagined Caitlin to be a man. Because it's the most manly name, obviously.
Makes perfect sense.
No, I don't know why. I always thought it was a male artist. The heck?
Caitlin McCaig, the one
Yeah,
with the female avatar.
I haven't
The
seen.
one that that shows her face in thumbnails very often nowadays.
As I said, I haven't watched her.
Cool. But yeah, I used to watch her because I watched a whole lot of YouTube and I liked our channels, I guess. But
It sounded like you're judging me. Like I have watched her though. Shame.
sorry, dang it. Don't mean to.
No, I mean it as a joke. I'm sorry.
Okay. But yeah, I heard her talk about the fact that she had a Discord server.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, hey, I'm gonna get some of that, and I joined that. And then I met some people, and then I drew. And through that, that went down a rabbit hole, and now I have things I got from art is like at least 300 subscriptions to YouTube channels, Discord as a whole, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, a lot of friends, a whole bunch of art friends, which I'm very happy with.
I can only imagine being happy about having friends.
Bro, you have me? Excuse me? I'm kidding.
I know you are. Because your imposter is too strong to let you have any kind of self-esteem. Whispers into the microphone. Peek.
Okay, that was very uncomfortable.
Wait.
I do not feel at ease, but oh well.
Not that's possible with making you uncomfortable. I had something else happening where you can put stones on wood. I always thought that wasn't possible.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
What are you even talking about? But yeah, I got a lot of things from art, a lot of friendships, and a hobby. Just a hobby as a whole. And I haven't been bored ever since I found that art was cool. So that's nice.
Oh,
I literally haven't been bored for the last 2 years, I think. Like a
exactly.
single time.
Like every time Coen is bored, there's an extra server he made that is private where he posts all his art, and every time he's bored, you can just tell by the server going ping, 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 ping.
Maybe.
He posted like 5 million pages of his sketchbook, and you're like, what? Coen, that's
Nah,
how much I draw in like 5 years.
that's not true. I'm only
I'm over.
halfway through this one. A bit more, actually.
Shame on you, actually, on this one. Coen, how dare you? Literally, draw more. Shaking my
Sorry.
SM.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 pages left, which is, and then every page has 2 sides. So
I feel like that's too much math for my brain. Thank you very much.
cool.
No, but that's 22 pages. You said 11, right?
I said 18.
Oh. So 36, okay.
Yeah.
Look at me
36
doing
sides. And I started this one. That's what I have left. I'm not gonna bother counting what I've already done. But I started this one on the 31st of August, so I think I've been productive enough. Yeah.
Definitely. I have
But
like one
Jay,
sketch where I was like, I want to finish this in a month, and it's already like 3 months old.
oh boy.
I was so motivated in the beginning, and then I was like, sketchbook who?
What? Never heard of her.
I remember the times where I actually finished my sketchbooks. Non-existent.
Oh. Well, then you don't remember them. Because they were never there.
Excuse you.
Sorry, you just said that. Okay. Cool.
Hey, that's a Coda thing to do. Just saying some arguments and then you're like, ugh, okay,
Okay. Okay.
giving up on life.
But yeah, I
Ooh.
got a lot. I got a lot from art. I feel like I've just become maybe a better person in general too. Don't know how obnoxious I was before I started drawing. At least I'm quieter. So that's a plus.
I
Yeah.
would also say that you're a very quiet person, but as soon as it's a topic where you can actually talk about, it's like, look at he. He is actually a talkative person. How are he?
Hello. I'm generally pretty talkative, and I'm kind of getting annoyed by it, but that's fine.
I mean, I hope you're talkative on a podcast. Just pointing that out there.
Oh yeah, we're on a podcast, aren't we?
No, this
You
is actually
guys,
my interview
I'm not
channel.
talkative. I'm not talkative. No, I don't talk. I never talk. I'm actually a mute. I'm not talking right now. No.
So
What do you
Coen,
mean?
this was actually for my new channel. Thank you very much. It's
Oh,
actually for the FBI, so they find out about everything about us.
oh.
Whoa, my antivirus just opened.
You're what?
my antivirus warned me that something wanted to attack my PC.
Oh, I thought you said like a certain body part, like my, I don't know, my gills just opened.
No, my antivirus. I'm sorry.
That was very good.
I wish my antivirus in my body would finally open.
Wow. Are you all right?
Yes. You know what's
I
funny? Last weekend Coda was sick, or was it the weekend before? Then Speed
I
and
don't know.
Sai got sick, and now I got sick. And I was talking to Coda one night, and then I was like, "Good night. I want to talk to Coda. How dare you?" He was like, "What?" And I was like, "You gave me the computer virus."
Perfect. You guys talk a lot together. That makes me very happy.
I mean, I'm also trying to talk more to you, so hi Coen.
Hi.
I'm actually a more talkative person. If people know me in person, they know that I'm actually very talkative.
Yeah.
Especially in the middle of the night, that's like my prime time. Okay, but like very important question. Can you flower? Can you plant a flower on wood?
Mate, I have no idea.
Let
I
me
don't
try.
think so.
Like, you cannot! Yes! That sounds
What?
like I actually had a breakthrough. Don't mind me here.
I don't know what's happening.
Oh, this has been a ruse again. You're actually in a crime TV show. The
Oh,
crime is
cool.
that I'm looking sickening good. What the heck?
I disagree.
Sickening is still a positive thing if you would watch more Drag Race.
Well, I literally haven't watched it a single time.
Exactly.
Wow. You got me there.
Haha. So, anyways,
But
Coen,
Jay, art good.
art at good.
Art good. I
And we
like art.
actually have hit at the 45-minute mark in a bit. So, do you have anything to say? Do you want to ask me something before we go? But wait, this has been a ruse again.
What?
I sounded so stiff there.
What
No,
is happening?
I'm just here to confuse Cohen. But Yeah, guys, this has been all my questions for Coen Comer. And the next part, you pretty much in like a minute for you guys, and like in 8 hours for me. I will do the same questions with Coda, and this will be cut together. But Coen, do you have any last words? Any thoughts about the questions? Any thoughts in general?
Yeah, what do you think of giraffes?
They are very long.
That is very true. You are right in that.
Yes. But I will
But no,
not say anything further without my lawyer. Thank you very much.
I want to just ask everyone to DM me a picture of. Let's think about it. I want everyone to DM me a picture of. I think it was called a pharaoh dog. It's a really cool black hairless dog from, I think, Egypt. And I love that dog, so please send me pictures of it.
Cutie.
What?
Like the dog.
Oh. I didn't even send you a picture of the dog.
Who says that I don't know them? Weren't you obsessed with them like last year already?
I don't know.
I will look him up, and I just say cutie in general because it's a dog and every dog is a cutie.
Pit bulls.
Yes! How dare you?
Kidding.
Oh, they're dangerous fighting dogs. No, they're like the Well then, goodbye, Coen. I will yeet you off the podcast now. And hi to future Opalia. Thank you for hopefully already have gotten this. If you didn't, shame on you. If you also didn't, shame on me. Bye. Thank you, Opalia from the past. Now then, hi Coda. Coen is gone.
Oh yes, I'm here now.
How magic. This definitely isn't like 8 hours later.
There was a bit of a morphing situation going on. I am actually Cohen, right? I kind of took over his body.
Stop lying. That's not very Christian.
Well, I can't lie. You know that.
Are you assuming that I know something?
Are you assuming my knowledge?
That was too funny. Cohen, no, not Cohen.
I told you, it's just a little more. You can call me Cohen if you want. I'm kind of also Cohen. It's a weird hive mind thing going on. I can't get into it right now.
Can I just quickly read out what this meme says? We cater any event. Wedding, graduation, horse funeral, drug intervention, Tuesdays, like with spaces in between. A horse funeral, a quiet night alone, return of gym, anniversary of horse funeral. Come inside for a few consultation.
Return of Jim?
Oh, that's the one
That's the one that stuck out to me. Return of Jim. Yeah, go
Where's
buy
Jim?
that card at Walmart. Welcome back, Jim.
Who doesn't buy that one, honestly? Anyways, Coda, should we start?
Yeah, I'm still half familiar with what we're doing.
I'm asking you questions, you're answering them. Yeet.
And they're the same questions you've asked Cohen.
Exactly.
Okay. And it's like an interview.
Indeed.
Okay. And these are questions.
Yes. Preferably yes.
Okay.
But first off, Coda, how are you today?
I'm happy. I'm tired but happy. Which is good.
That's better than depressed but happy.
But yeah, I'm doing good. I am also very sore because I did jujitsu for 2 hours and then played spikeball for 3 hours. So my body is just like, you could have done either one, but you had to do both.
Spike ball? Is that literally just a ball with spikes on it that you throw at each other?
No, that would be awesome. But
awesome.
yeah, obviously. You know how many people would walk out of there with eye patches? Like, epic.
So
But
that's how pirates were made.
that's how, not how, as we all know, you have to have an eye patch to be a pirate.
Wait, you don't?
I just said we all know.
The thing is, did you know that pirates actually wore eye patches? So one eye of them is used to the darkness, and as soon as they are like in dark places, they put the eye patch off, so it's already used to seeing in the dark.
Is that true?
Yes.
That's so... Okay, it's really cool, but it's also useless, almost.
Why?
Because your eyes adjust to seeing in the dark after just a few minutes of being in the dark.
Exactly. But those few minutes could be fatal if you're in a fight.
Okay, fair, I guess. But that's so interesting, I guess. Huh. I like that fact a lot. I'm gonna have to use that in a story because it's a really interesting factoid.
I
But
told you.
to answer your question, spike ball is just like volleyball where you spike a ball, but it's onto a net and it bounces off the net.
Interesting.
Yes.
I don't like that one.
The rules make it fun. In theory, it doesn't sound super fun.
Okay, wanna start with the first question, my dear?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Let's get into the nitty-gritty.
Nitty-gritty.
Would you say your view on the world/people has changed since you started drawing?
Well, I would say it has, but it has nothing to do with drawing. Well, I suppose there are some things that drawing has affected, but in reality, I started drawing years ago, and I have changed as a person so greatly since then that I can't really attribute it to drawing. I have to attribute it to other things as well. But of course, there are some things drawing has affected. For example,
My
I've
sleeping
noticed...
schedule.
What?
My sleeping schedule. Sorry, continue.
Big
Ignore me.
But, for example, I find humans, and just kind of the world around me, but humans in particular, and I'll get into that in a second, much more beautiful. Like, since I really started drawing, I'll just be walking around and I'll be like, oh, it's a bee. And I'll take like 10 seconds to just look at the bee, you know? Or, oh, hey, that's a pretty leaf. I'll take 20 seconds to just kind of look at the leaf, let my eye wander up the branch it's attached to, and go all the way to the root of the tree. And then I'll find a squirrel, and I'll start looking at the squirrel and watch it go through the tree and try to keep my eye on it. And then my eye gets lost to the cloud behind the squirrel, and I watch that move across the sky. And it's just, art has made me see the world in such a beautiful light, and I've started observing way more things than I would have if I hadn't started drawing.
Mm-hmm. So you would say that art has made you more observant?
Yeah, and I'm not exactly sure why that is. It might have started as oh, that's an interesting thing. I wonder how I would draw that. And then it turned into oh, that's a really pretty thing. I'm just going to stare at it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not exactly sure how it happened, but I can't... I have to chalk up my current mindset about staring at pretty things to art.
Mm-hmm.
But how that would affect people is I view different body types and different face shapes and everything. You know, before I was so only exposed to very conventionally attractive people on television shows and on billboards. But since I've started drawing, I've really started diving into drawing different facial features and seeing the nuances of different body types and stuff. And it's so cool, you know? I like different body types and all the different facial features are so interesting and beautiful to me now, much more than they would have been if I hadn't started drawing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it hasn't, which I guess that does affect me as a person. You know, you can never really tell. I think everything affects someone as a person. Saying thank you after a meal affects someone greatly.
Mm-hmm.
But So I guess to answer your question, I don't know how it's affected me. I do know that I have changed since I've started drawing, and some of that change could be chalked up to drawing. And the
Mm-hmm.
biggest change I can think of is that I just see the world in a much better, more beautiful light now.
Amen.
Amen.
I couldn't resist.
Yay. I hope that answered the question well.
It did. It was a very thorough answer.
Did I beat Coen?
There's no beating in here.
I will beat Coen. Like it not in a literal sense, like in a winning sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sure.
Just just if Coen tells you anything, he's lying.
Yes.
I have not beat Coen.
Are there things other artists do that you don't understand?
You mean like am puzzled by? Like why would they do that? Or I'm like, how do they do that? I don't understand how they're doing that.
Puzzled by, like, why? That doesn't make any sense with how I'm doing it.
Once you get to a certain level of artwork, every thing you do has a purpose. So once you're a really good artist at anything, every note in a song, every step of a process to get to a finished piece has a meaning and has a purpose. So I guess what I'm puzzled by is people who just start out and not every stroke has a purpose. They're kind of just putting stuff there, or they like do something and they don't know why they're doing it. They just kind of do it. But then again, that's chalked up to them being new. So,
Or
what were
just
you
me
gonna
going with the vibe.
say? Yeah, that's
I
fair.
had so many talks with Coda where I was just drawing and he was like, why did you do that? And I'm like, I don't know, I just felt like it. And he's like, huh.
Yeah.
Like, I can just hear Coda's puzzledness. And that's why this question was actually inspired by him.
Oh, but yeah. So I think most times whenever I see a professional artist do something, I'd be like, huh, I wouldn't do that because that's not my vibe. But I see they have a purpose behind doing it. And so what I'm puzzled by is whenever newer artists don't have a purpose behind doing something. But then again, like I said, that's just them being newer to it. They don't quite understand what they're doing yet.
Just
And
imagine
so
you going to a newbie artist and going like, what's your purpose?
just get all existential. But let's see, I'm trying to think if there's anything that I see advanced artists do that I'm just kind of like, why would you do that? Don't do that. I don't know. I really don't know. I feel like most things I see, I'm kind of like, okay, I can see why someone would want to do that.
The only example that would come in mind with me and you is, for example, one time I was doing a character design and I just drew up a wing, and Coda was like, wait, you just made that up? What?
Oh, so the question extends to I don't understand how someone's as good as they are because I was bamboozled by how great you are.
Aw. Oh, you. Shush. No nice words to the interviewer, thank you very much.
Flattery will get you nowhere.
Turns into a sea kettle. I like to drink the ocean.
Sea kettle.
I hate being sick.
Oh dear.
Anyways, what do you say that answered your question? What?
What? Yes? Yes, it did.
Sorry.
Would you say that answered my question?
Yes. Oh man, what a brain fart. Oh jeez. Are you ready for the next one?
Yes. Also, I don't want to make this episode too short or too long. How long did you and Cohen record for?
45 minutes.
Okay. We're 2 questions, 15. Okay, we should be good.
Yes, don't worry about it. Would you say famous artists are more inspiring than friends, or would you say it's the other way around?
I would say they're inspiring for different reasons. Neither one more than the other. So you have to think about what is inspiration, and in the context of art, it would be something sparking the desire to improve, is what I would say, or something sparking the desire to do something, I guess. But let's talk about it in the desire to improve. Let's define inspiration as that. Something sparking the desire to improve for our purposes. When I look at professional artists who I really admire and I look up to, my immediate thought is, wow, people can get that good. I need to figure out how to do that, you know? So there's that level of inspiration of, this is incredible. One day I could be like this. I just need to work to get there, and that inspires me to improve. But personally, I've found friends, and this is just how I work and how I function, who are also artists, to be far more inspiring, defined as we defined it earlier, than professional artists.
Same here.
Simply because, you know, it it gives you someone to showcase your improvement to, in a way. And you like show them, like, look, I did this and it's so much better than last time, and they're like, wow, I did this and it's so much better than last time I did it. And you guys, then you get happy, and then they get good, and you're like, oh no, I can't let them get better than me, and so you have to go do a bunch of studies. And so, you know, it's just a constant improvement. Improvement, not improval.
I'm loving, just because, like, I remember that one time where we both were like, yep, we're rivals now. That was such a fun thing, right?
Yeah. Now Cohen is slowly overthrowing us.
Slowly.
Quickly.
Quickly. Enormously fast would rather fit.
Yes. He is getting too good.
We should stop him.
We should. You want to order the hitman or me?
I am the hitman.
So I
Mr.
order you
Cohen.
then.
I actually have tricked you.
So wait, how much is it to kill Cohen?
Yes.
I got like $4.
So yeah, I can give you all the money that you want. How much do you have even? I don't know, $4 and like this little gumball. I already chewed on it, I know, but like, you know.
But I mean, come on, it's a little gumball. Like, it's smaller than your average gumball. Why would you not want that?
Then I'm squinting and I'm like, okay, sold for the gumball. My cat is smelling my mouth. I am very uncomfortable. But I would also say that friends are more inspiring just by seeing their approval and seeing how they have gotten through issues that you might have, and like maybe even learning from them how to get through those.
Right. We were just talking about how Cohen is overthrowing us, and he's getting better than us. That inspires me, in a competitive sense, to be like, no, oh, you're not gonna get better than me, and then I have to go and improve.
So you would say that the thing that motivates and inspires you by working with friends is competitiveness?
Part of it. There's definitely
Interesting.
a competitive aspect to it, but that's not all of it.
Very
Like I said
interesting.
before, there's a satisfaction to showing your improvement to other people, to being like, dudes, look at this, how much better I got. And it feels so much, if like a friend says, wow, that's amazing, you've gotten better, it feels so much better than a random commenter on Instagram being like, good job, bro, follow me back.
Literally.
So there is also a sense of gratification to it.
So
And, oh, continue.
I could just go, good job, bruh, follow me back, and that would be better than some random person on Instagram.
It would be.
Perfect. Now I know how to compliment your art.
I mean, just because it's better doesn't mean it's good. But, yeah. Did that answer your question?
It did answer some of my questions.
Alright. Then hit me with the ones it didn't.
Does
Segue
this
to the next question, Dev.
This one is actually very fitting to what we have talked about before. Like,
Yes.
in this step. What quote-unquote level would you say you're on? Beginner, intermediate, great, pro, or something that you would say you are yourself? Like, your own name.
Yes, I am Coda level.
Jeez.
But, let's see. Well, I'm different levels at different things. So, my ability to character design might be better than my ability to draw characters. And my ability to draw characters is better than my ability to draw backgrounds, which is better than my ability to paint backgrounds, which is better than my ability to paint characters, you know, so on and so forth. So, it really depends on what we're talking about. But, in a very general, broad sense, just looking at all my skills collectively and adding them up like RPG stats, I'm not a professional level. I don't think I'm quite professional. I'm getting close, I believe, to where I'm good enough to work in an industry. Like, I'm about to break through on that end. But I think, yeah, like I said, I'm somewhere in between. I'm somewhere right before beginning industry level.
I see.
Which I have about a year. I'm already reaching out to a bunch of animation professionals and talking about internships, but I have about a year until I can actually start doing that. So I have a year to be like, yeah, bro, I can work here now. But yeah, I see myself somewhere around there, like on the verge of entering the industry level.
Yeah, I getcha. Gina. I'm sorry, quick side tangent. You know how with the recording in Audacity, like, it moves further and, like, the lines peak wherever I talk?
Uh-huh.
Gina tries to play with that.
Whoa, she does. That's adorable.
It is so cute, but it's so distracting too.
She tries to slap the audio spikes.
Stop with the recording. Give me all the attention. Mwah. Oh, that's so cute. I cannot. Anyways, where were we?
Did you answer my question?
What was your question?
Nothing. I was just making a play off what we said earlier, where you asked me if you answered my question.
Sorry, joke didn't land. Guess you didn't have enough fuel left.
My joke didn't land. I guess it crashed.
It didn't land, so I guess it was bland, bro.
Hey.
What would you say is the least helpful kind of critique?
Well, what would we define as critique? Would this bad be a critique, or would that just be hating on it?
I would say it's a very, very, very mean critique, but it's still critique. Like, just
Okay.
going like, this sucks.
So, any type of feedback related to the art is a critique?
Yes,
Are
let's
are
say
we
that.
defining it as negative feedback? Like, hey, fix this.
Just what would you say is the least helpful kind of feedback?
The least helpful kind of feedback. Uh, the least helpful kind of feedback is this is good. That's it. Because, okay, what's good about it? How do I improve on it? You know, that's the one I get the least from. When someone just says, good job, or awesome work, or this makes me smile, or, you
I
know,
like it. Ooh, ooh.
I like it. It yes, exactly. And it makes you feel good, but it helps you the least. Because if they were to say the colors are really good, then you're like, okay, I'm doing something right with the colors. I can start to really elaborate on that. Or
Exactly,
if they
like
were
okay, this color scheme kind of works, so I guess I can keep the character design as such.
right, but if someone just says awesome job, you're like, what's awesome about it? It's even less useful than if someone says this sucks. Because then you're like, okay, something's wrong with it. What's wrong with it? And it makes you think about it. But if someone says awesome job, you're just like, okay, it's good. I'm done.
It's good. I'm done. Sorry, that just.
So yeah, for me, the least helpful type of feedback is literally just someone saying, "Wow, I love it."
Mm,
But the least helpful type of critique, because the way I saw critique before this, and I might be wrong, but I just in case anyone else sees it like this and wants this answer,
mm,
critique being feedback, negative feedback, like this is wrong with it, fix this. The least helpful type of critique would probably literally be this bad, you know? Because
really?
what's bad about it? Help me.
Mm,
Even though that's better than this good, it's still pretty useless.
yeah, exactly. Like, you kind of know, okay, something is wrong with it, so I can look at it. But you didn't get what's, like, good or bad about it.
Right.
Do I want to add wood there? Yes, I want to add wood there.
Are you playing Animal Crossing?
No.
I see. I don't know if there's wood in Animal Crossing, so I don't know if you're lying or not.
See, I could say no and mean yes.
Yeah, you do that all the time, and you
Exactly.
say, and you say yes and mean practically anything.
What's yes even for? That's just a social construct.
Yes is a social construct, everybody.
You heard it first.
No doesn't mean anything. I never listen to words like stop or don't.
You know that that's not the best thing to say, like, what? Why did I get a kitchen shelf?
Are kitchen shelves in Animal Crossing?
Maybe.
Does maybe mean yes or no? You're saying, or is maybe also a social construct? Is this a conspiracy?
You know what you remind me of? That one meme with the guy holding the book, and then he's like, "Is this a?" and then blank, and then you go, conspiracy.
He's pointing at the pointing at the butterfly that says Opalia saying maybe me. Is this a conspiracy?
Oh, I can see that. It's such a Coda thing to do. Because you're overthinking.
Yay. Overthinking. Hurrah.
The
So,
overthunk has overthunk it. What?
you can call me Overthonkus.
No, my grandma was called Overthonkus.
That was my father's name.
Oh, funny. By the way, after this call, do you have more time?
Uh, not much, but I could spare 20 minutes.
Beautiful. We will watch another episode of Violet Evergarden.
Wonderful.
You don't have a choice anymore. Well then,
But,
Coda, are you ready for the last question?
yes.
Also,
Whoa,
you're
wait,
so
is the last one already?
Yes! You were just like speed running.
I speed ran the questions. But did I answer them good, or did I just be too vague?
No, I mean, you still had them filled, and in the beginning I was worried that we won't get it done in like the amount of time that I mathed it in. But then you were like, "Oh yeah, I'm almost done," and I'm like, "Wait, we have 10 or 15 minutes left."
The amount of time I mathed it in. Oh, I don't know why that was so funny to me.
Just me saying mathed it.
The amount of time I mathed it in.
Oh yeah.
That quote out of context sounds like some dude with a cup of black coffee just so sick of life, like, oh, the amount of times I've mathed it in.
Jesus, it's raining hard.
Oh dear.
Here, Gina, get a boop. Boop. Okay, Coda.
Yes.
What new things did you find through art?
Well, okay. So, are we talking about through starting art or through art itself? Like, I'll explain that. So, whenever I first started drawing, I actually started a drawing YouTube channel where I then met people who we started a Twitter chat room that turned into the Artist Guild, that turned into a Discord chat room, which turned into me knowing some of my best friends.
Aww.
So, are we talking stuff like that? Are we talking like, well, through the act of drawing itself, I've learned this?
Through art, but I think you just speedrun again.
So, I guess through starting art, but this was more of the YouTube channel. But when I started really expanding drawing to something serious I wanted to be good at, I met a community who also was into drawing, and that turned into good friends, which turned into art friends. So art introduced me to online community.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like not drawing itself. That was kind of like me using drawing as a vessel to meet people. When in reality, I'm trying to think of what the act of drawing could have shown. I mean, like I said before, it showed me the beauty of the world.
Definitely. Like you're more open to new things. Like you have found out things, you have appreciated things that you haven't before.
Right. It also kind of showed me how to learn in a way.
Also, I don't know why, but I wanted to say showed you new things that I haven't learned before. I don't know why I wanted to say thy. Doesn't make any sense. Just randomly turning into a freaking queen.
'Tis thy queenship amongst upon us. 'Tis thy queenship upon us.
Why is that so funny? That
Best
shouldn't
ye
be
go
funny.
before ye thy too much.
Jeez.
I don't think they would have said too much. What would they have said? I don't know. I'm not an expert with Olden English.
I'm not an expert in English either.
Huh. That's neither am I.
The funny part is that we both are just casually doing a podcast.
Oh, but so it also kind of taught me how to learn in a way, because art is hard and it takes a long time to get good at. And there was only like, so I started doing jujitsu when I was a very tiny child.
Tiny
And
child.
so I never really had to focus on learning because I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna go to class when my parents tell me and just kind of do the thing, and no one expected anything of me. But art was the first thing where I wanted to do it. Like, I started doing it, and I had to learn on my own how to do it. So it kind of taught me, it was the first long thing that taught me how to stay dedicated to a craft and taught me how to learn. Which I still use the stuff I've learned from learning. I'm using it in college right now as I try to get through my first semester. I am using tactics to learn that I've learned through doing art. But did that answer your question?
It did, even though you were very fast again.
I hope I'm not being too vague.
The thing is, it's hard for me to question more out of these questions. I know I'm a bad interviewer. I'm sorry, Uwu.
Uh-huh. And how does that make you feel? I've turned the tables. I'm the interviewer now.
No.
Oh dear, you've reverse turned the tables. You've flipped them back over.
Who flips tables? Like, what kind of aggressive person do you have to be to flip a table? What did thy table do to you?
What hast thou table done to thy?
I don't know what's wrong with me
What
saying
hast
thy?
thy table done to ye?
Oh, God.
But I think, yeah, I think it would be really funny if someone, like, in a rage, flipped a table and it was on its head, it's on the flat part, and then, like, the next day they raged and they flipped it again and it landed back on its legs, just perfectly where it was.
I mean, you have to be very mad to flip a table.
Right. And the thing is,
Oh, excuse me.
it's not that cool. Like, it's not as cool as they would make it seem in cartoons because it's so slow and there's no flipping. It's just like tipping it over until it kind of just falls on its side.
Depends on the
But,
table,
like...
though. If it's like an IKEA table, it's literally just flips 500 times into oblivion and has a firework going on as soon as it's done.
Celebrating the flippage.
The flippage. Indeed.
But Opalia hit me with the bonus question.
There's
that
a bonus
may or may
question?
not. It may or may not exist. I just was saying it just in case there was one.
Damn. Sparkling water or non-sparkling water?
Depends on the context, but usually non-sparkling water.
Good job. I like you, though. Ooh. Jesus. Excuse me.
Did you just say I like you? Like, as in, like, you just meeting me? Like, hey, you're a pretty cool dude.
Do you like sparkling water or non-sparkling water? I don't know. I guess non-sparkling water. We're friends now.
Hey, kid, I like you.
Jeez.
And then all of a sudden, the rock music starts playing as they walk into the sunset.
Yow! You're welcome.
Was that your guitar?
No, that was the yow. You know, that scream that they... No, the scream that they do in the, like...
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Thank you. Starts crying.
You didn't know fast enough.
I thought I did the reference right.
I thought I did the good yow.
I thought I would get the reference.
Yes. Anyways,
Voice crack.
is there anything else that you have to say?
Hey guys, by the way, we have a Discord server. If you want to come on there and meet some art friends yourself, you can hit us up with that.
Hit us up with that. I don't know what you meant by that, but
I don't know either, but I just went with the vibe.
So did I.
Yeah.
Also, how did your and Cohen's interview go?
You're in cool.
Cohen.
Voice quack.
You see, since I did fuse with Coen and overtake his body, every time I say his name, he does a little bit of his spirit leaves me. That was what that noise was. Like I said, there are a bunch of complicated rules to this thing that I'm not going to go into.
Okay, what I wanted to say, guys, we have a Discord server. If you want to meet new art friend, dang it! If you want to meet
new art friend, come see Art Friend. Art Friend is waiting for you. Art Friend is here. Art Friend awaits.
Please visit our Discord server because we have art friends. Good. Oh.
Art Friend has came. He is here now. Greet Art Friend now.
Guys, if you want to meet new art friends or maybe just chat with us, if there is a chance of that, which is very small but it doesn't matter, you can visit our Discord server. You want to know how you find that link to the Discord server? Well, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can just look in the description. While you're going there, by the way, leave us a like and a subscribe or I will yeet you. And visit our Discord server. Thank you very much. And if you're on our Spotify, you can find us on Art Friends on YouTube or Art Friends Cast on Instagram. Coda, do you have anything to say?
Art Friend awaits.
Dang it! Okay. And yeah. Stay safe. Don't eat children. They are not tasteful. And see ya. Bye.
Go greet Art Friend.
Opalia, do you have a crush?
No,
Cool.
I'm not ice.
So this is wow. But you do the intro. I'm gonna meet my very own toilet spider real quick.
Everybody has their own toilet spider.
Yep, be right back.
Now I have to save time. Doop 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 doop. Da 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 dum 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 da da dum da da dum 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 da da dum dum da da dum boop ba boop 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 ba ba boop 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 da 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 I have to cut all of this out. Yes, I have to cut this out. Oh, damn it, Coen, you're taking long. Damn it, Coen, please come back. I don't have the lung capacity of all this. Please come back. Please Coen, please come back. Please come back faster. My voice is dying, but I need to continue this because I cannot do this without cutting out. Damn it, I messed this part up. Why did I decide to do the me intro? Da 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 da. Thank you, Coen, for coming back. Oh my god.
I've been here for like a minute. I didn't want to interrupt.
How dare you?
On the one hand, I was like, I don't want to interrupt. This is great. On the other hand, I was like, well, her voice is kind of dying, so. But yeah, you did the intro, I'm assuming.
Yes, and then the whole time I was like, okay, how do I waste time?
You could have also just waited and cut it,